Hi, this is Mrs. Nagayama, and this review video is supposed to help you with the Unit 3 tests. So please make sure you review all the quizzes from 3.15 all the way to 3.31 before taking this test. Here are the topics we'll go over: genes, cell differentiation, photosynthesis, and cellular respiration. So what are genes? Genes are sections of DNA that code for traits. Remember, this whole long strand of DNA is what we call the genetic material. But the sections is what we call genes. So we could have the hair color gene, the eye color gene, or the hair texture gene, all within the same DNA. And so genes are sections of the DNA. So here's a sample question from Unit 3 test. Which sentence best describes a gene? A gene is a segment of a DNA strand. B, a gene is a segment of a protein. C, a gene is a complete protein. Or D, a gene is part of the cell membrane. Remember, genes are sections of DNA. So the best answer for this one would be A, a gene is a segment of a DNA strand. The next topic we're going over is cell differentiation. So remember that when a sperm and an egg come together, it becomes a fertilized egg, which we call a zygote. When the zygote multiplies, it produces stem cells, which you see in the second picture. These stem cells can then produce differentiated cells. That leads us to the third step, which is called cell differentiation. So you see those same 4 stem cells present, and each of those stem cells are in charge of making a different type of cell. So it could be a heart cell, a liver cell, a lung cell, a skin cell, etc. But each of them have a very unique function. So again, we go from a zygote to a stem cell, and then the cells that differentiate and have their own specific job. So here's a sample question. Scorpions are born with fully developed bodies that have many special parts, such as the stinger on a scorpion's tail. Which process enables a scorpion zygote to develop into cells that ultimately form different body parts? Is it A, cell breakdown, B, meiosis, C, reproduction, or D, cell differentiation? So the answer for that one would have been cell differentiation. And the reason why is because the scorpion stinger is just one part of the body, and it has specific stem cells that are producing those parts of the body. The next topic we'll be going over is photosynthesis and cellular respiration. So how are these two similar? When we look at these two equations, how are they similar and how do they compare? So we see photosynthesis takes carbon dioxide, water, and light energy and produces glucose and oxygen. Cellular respiration takes that glucose and oxygen and produces carbon dioxide, water, and energy. So what we see here is that photosynthesis and cellular respiration are indeed opposite of one another. There are also differences in terms of where they occur. Photosynthesis occurs in plants and some bacteria, whereas cellular respiration occurs in all organisms. Photosynthesis occurs in the chloroplast, whereas cellular respiration occurs in the mitochondria. So here's a sample question. How are the chemical equations of photosynthesis and cellular respiration similar or different? A, the two equations are identical. B, the two equations are opposites of each other. C, the chemicals in each process are different. Or D, glucose is the starting molecule for both processes. So we see here that when we looked at the comparison between photosynthesis and cellular respiration, they are opposite of one another. So B is the correct answer. The next question, what compound is released by photosynthesis and is used in cellular respiration? Is it water, carbon dioxide, ATP, or oxygen? Remember, if you look, the question was asking which one is made in photosynthesis and used in cellular respiration. So you see that glucose and oxygen are made in photosynthesis, and glucose and oxygen are used in cellular respiration. So the best answer for this one would be D, oxygen. I just want to review one more time what cellular respiration is. Cellular respiration is when the mitochondria uses glucose to make ATP. So we're using that glucose and we're producing ATP, which we can use as energy for our bodies. So here's the last question. A scorpion cells undergo cellular respiration just as a human cell does. During cellular respiration, what process takes place? Is it A, carbon dioxide and water are used, B, glucose and oxygen are released, C, oxygen is used and ATP is produced, or D, carbon dioxide and glucose are produced? The best answer for this one would be C, oxygen is used. You see that's one of the ingredients, and ATP is produced, which is one of the products of cellular respiration. If you have any questions about the Unit 3 test, please email me and I can send you more resources. But remember, you can always retake the test as many times as you need to. If you score a 60% or above on the Unit 3 test, you will be excused from any quiz in the Unit 3 section that you scored either a 0 or below a 60%.